everybody, it is Calxiyn and Hunter here, and do you guys know why my forehead is so big today? It's because I have a 6-head galaxy brain theory, okay, about this. We haven't even seen it yet, but I have a theory, so you're gonna want to listen up, okay? So, we are reacting to the RWBY Fairytales, that's part of the theory. It's just RWBY Fairytales now, not RWBY Fairytales of Remnant like the book was called, just RWBY Fairytales trailer. And so if you don't know, this is like a 2D animated thing that they're doing, kind of like a little anthology. I wouldn't necessarily call it a show.
They're gonna do a crossover episode with Camp.
It's gonna be individual like fairy tales, presumably from RWBY Fairytales of Remnant. However, I am suspicious of the fact that Remnant has been taken out of the title, and I wonder if that means, like, imagine this, okay? This goes on until RWBY comes out, which was my theory, by the way, that this would basically start and then release until, like, RWBY Season 9, or whatever we're calling it, Volume 9. Anyway, and so imagine the very last fairy tale, the reason why it's not called Fairytales of Remnant is because the last one is related to the Void World that they have fallen into, which means it's not a fairy tale of Remnant, it's a fairy tale of such and such, Wonderland, wherever they have fallen, right? Which we also have a theory about, but without further ado, we're gonna react to this, then we're gonna kind of like little analysis kind of motion going on, and so yeah, you guys should subscribe as always. We like to see it. Oh, she's so cute. Oh,
oh, the family.
Oh, we have no closed captions, but anyways.
Our world has a
oh, that was cool. Oh, we get to see that was the relic of knowledge. Oh my god, sir.
Oh my god, husband.
on all sides.
Oh my god, this is gonna be so cool!
I love the art style.
I love know! Oh my god!
I'm sorry, that looked like Cardin's weapon.
Oh my! To experience the world
oh wow,
outside.
that was really cool.
She was his prisoner.
Oh, the king! Oh my god!
We get to see him now.
The forest? But we're not supposed to go in.
This is so crazy to see,
if we stick together,
like everyone, you know what I mean? To like see all these characters we imagined in our heads actually animated, like it's so cool. We want to listen to what Ozpin says in a minute, but like there's no closed captions. So don't come for me. Oh, okay. So whoa, sir. But yeah, let's listen to what Ozpin is saying, because again, no closed captions, sis. Guys, come on, stop doing this to us. We're reactors, we need the closed captions, or we're just looking at pretty pictures, okay? All right.
And the pictures are pretty, but...
this character reminds me a lot of Scout, and it makes me sad. I feel like that somebody was like, this is kind of like our homage to poor Scout, who we will never see again.
Yeah, well, because like they have the kind of similar sort of flat, not heavy lined Nomad.
Yeah, I mean it is
style.
kind of Nomad of Nowhere art style too. I just mean like the hair and everything, like I don't know, the freckles. Yeah. But yeah, so this is Ozpin saying. I think he's saying what makes a fairy tale.
Favorite fairy
tale. What is our favorite fairy tale?
Which is very like that's a direct season 3 reference.
Oh my god, look at Salem, guys. Look at this. I think that this is so cool. To like see Salem like in this animation, like it's just so cool. This is the Hunter's children. We already knew that because they did show this at RTX, but we didn't react to it because we were like, well, I don't want to react to it and not be able to release it. So we've just been kind of waiting for its formal release. I mean, if that one's done, that'll probably be the very first one. Though I don't think that it was the very first one, like canonically in like the actual book. In the book, right? So I feel like they'll switch up the order.
My memory of the book and the stories within
I think Hunter is gonna have better reactions to this series because even though we read it, you're gonna be like, oh, I chill, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, yes, Hunter, I chill.
I don't remember the Hunter's family, but I remember that I think a redhead went into the forest and she met a huntress. I definitely remember Salem.
Well, there was a boy that met a silver-eyed warrior. Is that what you're talking about?
That's what it was, right?
Anyway, and so, but I still think that like we're basically gonna do reactions and then like a discussion type thing. I still think that it's valuable because like this is such a different medium than reading a story, right? Like you can still react to the Harry Potter movies if you read the book, I would argue, right? That I mean, maybe not Harry Potter, right? Maybe not supporting Harry Potter, but anyways. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like in terms of like you can still react even if you know what happens, because it's about like how the story is adapted and told. That is the interesting thing to evaluate, you know? Anyway, that's kind of random, but yeah, so this seems to be the king, like in the story where he gets the relic of choice. Unfortunately, like, okay, so that's the other interesting thing about this, right? Is that it does seem like that because we are able to visually see everything, that because the thing about the fairy tales is that they are not canon, right? Like, they are what the people of Remnant tell each other. However, like, in each story, there's kind of like a little nugget of truth, if you want to call it that.
And they typically have like an Ozpin at the end.
And it seems like truth will be more evident in the visual, like, medium of these fairy tales, because I feel like the writers are trying to soft confirm things for us as the audience. And I'll point out what I mean exactly. But for example, right, the relic is depicted as it is. You know what I mean? Like, the relic is depicted, it seems like, as the coloration that we imagine it should be, which kind of disappoints me because it shoots down my theory that 2 of the relics were made by the god of darkness, unless, like, the perception is that they were made by the god of light, but then there's a twisty twist. But anyway, this seems very, like,
what I like a lot about it so far is that when you see this, how it moves almost like a clock being set, and how it looks like it's almost, this is a weird comparison, but it looks like South Park, that is just cut pieces of
I would say maybe a better example, Hunter, is like a pop-out book.
Yes,
right?
like a pop-out book.
It's like a
the previous
children's
one
pop-out
looks
book.
like animated characters within like an old English text. I like that kind of heavily stylized. They look like they're getting very stylized.
Yeah,
and I
like
think
that
be
they're
really
going to be still different from each other, despite all being within the same anthology. I totally
They're getting
agree.
creative with the
So
animation.
see, this is what I mean. This is what I would say is possibly a soft confirmation of something, because we weren't sure when we read the story whether or not the depiction of the relic of choice was accurate. However, given the fact that, like, we kind of see it, you know, I would say that maybe that is the writers trying to be like, listen, this may not have happened, right? Like, this particular story may not have occurred, but some of the things that the story is talking about are true, and maybe the relic's powers are true. I know that that's kind of like, but Cal, why does it matter? Well, because we didn't know what the relic of choice looked like. We didn't know exactly if that was the correct thing that it did. Like, maybe now it's kind of leaning more towards, like, even though this is a fairy tale, we're gonna actually show you some canon information to an extent. I don't know. I'm just saying, right? And so then, right, we have this guy. So this is also what I kind of mean by, like, a canon.
Was this the first faunus?
This is the god of animals. I think this is the one where they all go on the island. This is, again, kind of what I mean by, like, a soft confirmation of something, right? We didn't know whether the god was real, whether it was the god of darkness, whether it was the god of light, and so this would seem to say that it is the god of light, given the fact that he is,
but it also has very dark parts of it.
And so you kind of have to wonder. That's what I was sort of thinking. I'm like, what if it's the dark god, like, disguised as his brother or something? Or, like, what if this is supposed to represent that both of them came together to make the faunus? And so there's, like, little things that are visually depicted, I think, in order to convey something to us. Like, actually, like, let's just say, yes, this is supposed to represent that it was the god of light and darkness, even though they don't say that, or just the god of light, right? Whichever it is. And so I like that they're kind of keeping that, yes, like, the fairy tales are from the people. They're not going to be exactly accurate, but at the same time, here's a little sprinkle. Here's a little sprinkle of something, you know? And I love, again, look at Ozma. Like, I feel like that this is just so cool, too, to, like, see Ozma like this. And see, this is the thing, right? Like, the king using the relic of choice, it may not exactly look like that, because this man looks like he's in the void. You know what I mean? Like, who knows,
he looks like he's on a bad trip.
Like, this man is not, you know, that doesn't exactly look like the creation, or like the spirit of the relic popping out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, as we're aware of it.
Right, he still has the crown, so that means it could do what he says, but this depiction may not be.
But also, when you look
one,
at the
right?
crown, the gold is different than the other gold. It's more of like a bronze,
but I feel like that may just be artistic choice, Hunter.
That might be artistic choice, or they might be purposefully leading into the whole, this is not quite how it works.
Yes, this is not quite how it was.
What I really
I find that so interesting.
What I liked about the books is that at the end, you had, like, Ozpin notes for most of it, where he talks about, like, oh, the degree in this, the degree to this is actually relevant and real to my understanding. I don't know how they'd be able to do something similar to that with this show.
They could do it in the description.
Maybe.
Like, kind of like there was this website, and I don't know what game it was for, but they used to post, like, stuff, like, from the character on the website, and it was almost like a journal or something. It was like captain's log, and it would, like, it was a way to convey, like, kind of information about the game but like subtly and stuff. And so I wonder if it could be like Captain's Log, the story that you're about. You know,
Ozpin
Ozpin is in the YouTube description, I guess. Like Ozpin's text.
Comment. He's
Ozpin has his own YouTube account. He's the pinned comment.
Ozpin is a RWBY tuber. He's like, all right, today I'll be reacting to.
Oh boy! And so this seems like that. This is like the woman that will become the wife of the king. I wonder if that's his castle. By the way, I wonder if that's the king's castle, because that does look a lot like Ozpin's thingy, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, that's definitely her. She got like super long princess hair, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so like this, I don't know, but wouldn't that be funny though if the relics look as if they are from the god of light, but then they're from the god of darkness? Like this has god of darkness vibes, so I would kind of enjoy that if they like, if it was like, you thought that my brother made this, but actually
I wonder if we'll get to see what the spirit inside the lamp looks like, or if we'll get
like the crown?
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be vague. I don't think they're gonna show
they might give us hints, but I think it'll be vague.
I think that they're not gonna show who it actually is. I think that that's kind of the point of that kind of like weird scene that he's going through.
On the topic of how they're kind of like getting fun with the art styles, I love how like they make the Grimm look very smoky.
Oh, and they're like, like, you know what I mean? They look like Spore. And I say that as a compliment, but they look like those things that you make.
Like, I want to make it as tall and as weird and lanky as possible.
I also like how they made all of the people gray, kind of like what happens with Ren's semblance, because this character has something very similar to them. So I kind of like I just like the colors of it. I like this too, like this little paper bird that Salem's sending out.
Okay. I think when we did the actual reaction, I said this, but I missed it. That kind of looks like Cardin's weapon.
Oh my god, this is like, what if the redhead is like Cardin's descendant or something? No, I mean, like the whole thing was like the father was protecting Salem, so this is either some random dude that like
so maybe
died
this is like Cardin's great grandfather that was murked. He had a couple kids.
Okay, he had a couple. Okay, I see what you're saying. Because there were people that went to go save Salem and failed, but then Ozma succeeded. I don't think that this is Ozma. So this girl, is that the first girl from before? So this is the girl that was with her brother.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the chill story. So that's
that
I love
genuinely
this.
spooked the fuck out of me.
That's so cool. Like I love like the pencil. Like somebody is like writing in like a journal, like an adventurer's journal. Like I just think that that's so cool.
I think that Salem's at her most interesting when she's like presented like a Lovecraftian eldritch horror, like Cthulhu. Like if you look at her, you have to claw your eyes out.
Oh my god!
But she was
so
she's still beautiful.
This is Salem's father,
presumably, yes.
But look at what he's wearing. Isn't that kind of like interesting? Because
he looks like the Snow King from Adventure Time.
I'm saying that he has a dark crown with the orbs. So what if like this was his kingdom before it was like this dude's kingdom, and it's like the same castle, right? Hold on.
Well, actually, if you look at the other crown he has, they're kind of similar.
Yeah, like you know that blue and that silver situation. Like I don't know.
There might be some connection.
Look at this, because this. It shows the castle, but then goes to the king, but also it seems like that castle is also Salem's castle? So what if they're like the same, like the same castle, somebody else just moved in? Cause see, like this like green structure, that would seem like Salem's, but at the same time it cut to the king. I mean, that could just be like, you know, because they're trying to show multiple fairy tales at the same time, but wouldn't it be cool if like Salem's castle was abandoned and then this new king was just like, a castle, perfect.
I'm the king now. This is how succession works.
That like after the snap, stuff got destroyed, but like I don't know, what if like, and this also looks a lot like Beacon. So what if Beacon is Salem's former castle and it just still kind of stands, you know? Like I think that that's kind of cool in a way. I don't know. Yes, scary.
I think some of these might be a little scary.
Yeah, a little scary, right? So yeah, so this is the girl from the first story. So I guess this is when she was playing with her brother.
That also sounds like Oscar's voice actor.
Where?
That was just talking in that last.
We're not supposed to go in there.
We're not supposed to go in
really
there.
pitched up,
Not supposed to go in there.
No, I get.
But we're not supposed to go in there.
Yeah,
All I'm saying is that I think it would be pretty cool if we got like recurring.
Look at this man. Does this man not look a lot like Salem? Granted, there is something in Ozpin's notes that say that the appearance was conflated with another story about the witch in the woods.
Maybe.
So that could just be a reference to the fact that like the people that tell the fairy tale got it confused with Salem's appearance. So that Salem is not being possessed by a chill. It's just that's why he looks like that.
Nothing will make you sound more like a paranoid, neurotic fangirl than like an unreliable narrator.
I know, well,
like,
yeah, that's the thing, because Ozpin says, oh yeah, and some reports like, you know, say that there's white veins and black eyes, but that seems to be confused with another tale about the witch in the woods. That's also something that was never in the Book of Remnant,
so
by
maybe
the way.
we get to see the witch in the woods.
Because we see
scary Salem.
Yeah, exactly.
But even scary Salem, like when in like the Forgotten Fairy Tale in RWBY proper, when she was a witch in the woods, she didn't have the veins.
Exactly, right?
Later.
So I'm like, oh god, imagine Salem's possessed by the chill. No. But imagine that this is somehow Salem connected. Not that she's possessed by the chill, but like that this is related somehow.
Imagine
like the reason she got the veins is related to chills. I don't know.
Was written by an ancient Ozpin and it has vibes of like really bitter X.
Oh my god, it's just like the last 5 years.
And she was stupid and she was smelly and she didn't respect my feelings.
But yeah, it's definitely interesting how people associated what was monstrous to Salem's appearance. So I wonder what was going on and when, I don't know, what if Salem like consumed a chill to become stronger or something? Because that would kind of be a different take where she's not being possessed, but then that the chill being in her body for like a long period of time did cause it. I don't know. Interesting things that we think about here, right? Or like, what about the Grim bug that she has? But that hasn't happened to Cinder.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just a lot of thoughts. I don't know, because there is nothing, not worse, but there's nothing more like frustrating than is this part of the unreliable story? And you already know there's so many people that are gonna be like, well, like such and such must be canon because they showed it in the like chills must do that because they showed it in the fairy tale. And I'm like, no.
Well, as we also know, bears eat porridge.
Yes, exactly.
So, like, fairy tales, reliable sources of information.
Even when the book came out, there was such a big debate over whether they could, like, actually put down, I think, the power of the relic of choice, because people were like, but what if it's not? What if that's not the power? What if that's just the story? Like, it was such a whole thing, you know? And so anyway. And so, yeah, I really, oh my god, hold on, let's back it up a little. So we have, like, a person and then, like, the animal. So that actually is interesting because is that not the same god, but in the story where there are the literal animals and humans fighting each other?
Yeah.
Well, and so that's kind of fascinating,
what
right?
I find interesting about this is that they talk about that the god of light and the god of darkness made humans.
Yeah.
This kind of looks like a mixture of a god of light and darkness, and they made Faunus.
Right.
Maybe
I mean, they made Faunus in both stories, right? There were already humans, and then the Faunus came later. But it was
a collaboration between the two both times.
Possibly, right? And so, like, that's kind of the interesting thing, is that this same god is the god in the island story and the god in the story where, because basically what happens in the island story is he takes a bunch of humans that are like worthy to the island and they become Faunus, and being a Faunus is supposed to be this beautiful, magical, like, you're like, I don't know, you're enlightened, like, you're amazing, I don't know. It's some like kind of biblical reference, I think, to being the chosen people of like a god, I guess, right? And so then you have this where the animals turn into Faunus and the humans turn into Faunus, and then they have to go home, and then their families hate them because they don't recognize them anymore, which is two very different motivations, right? Or very two different
I also
scenarios.
wonder if like I wonder if they're gonna make it like stretch it out, add extra detail, because some of those fairy tales
I think there's gonna be dialogue because somebody said right, like you heard voice actor talk, right? But what I'm saying is that like it's kind of interesting that it is the same god in both stories, and possibly also that this is just what they thought of when they saw the god of darkness and the god of light. And something else that I think is interesting is that there's a different fairy tale where it's implied that the gods like kind of split, like from one egg. So what if this is their combined form when they decide to join together to make something? Like, this is the form that they take, because they both have each other's antlers. They both have each other's, I mean, I don't know, like, the fur and, like, the stuff, like, is kind of, like, more darkness than, like, the purple that we actually see in the show, but that could have just been, like, stylistic. But, like, do you understand what I mean? Like, there are elements from both gods in one, so what if, in order for them to literally make something together, they have to come together to make something. Like, they literally have to fuse again, right? And then undivide. If that fairy tale is true, again, we don't know, right? We don't know.
All I know is that the furries are gonna love this man.
Oh man. And so yeah, see, so this is a story where oh my god, look at this horse. This horse is like, you know what? I don't have fangs, I don't have claws, I'm gonna fuck up a bitch. You know what I'm saying? That is so funny.
Horses are terrifying. They're giant, they got big clumpy hooves, and then like a tree.
Yes. I feel like we've seen this before.
Maybe that's the trees.
It may be in the fairy tale book.
Maybe it's the trees from where the gods rest on Earth.
Maybe. I feel like I've seen that.
trees.
I don't know where though, but I'll look into it. But yes.
One thing is certain.
One thing is certain. That looks like Ozpin's hand.
Yeah,
I know that all we
that's the
see is his
vibe I-
cuff, but
Stories that will endure.
the stories will endure. Okay, so he's basically saying no matter what, these stories are like, you know, they're nice. They're top shit. So yeah, October 30th. That is the release date. Apparently, it's October 31st for everyone else. That may just be the premiere. That may just be the premiere. And so I think that we're basically pretty much done. We've done like a little analysis, all of that fun stuff. So I hope that you guys enjoy. Wow, we really talked about this 1 minute, this literal 1 minute trailer. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody! Remember to subscribe
What
if
did
you
we say about
haven't
neurotic
already.
viewers
I know,
and
exactly.
unreliable narrators?
And we will see you in the next one. Bye.